Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your #1 source for Native American television news. It's Native News Today. Along with my partner Gerald Wofford here, it's Jason Salzman, and we are very excited to unveil our latest episode of Native News Today for all the folks out there watching, and we hope that you're buckled in and ready for a great Saturday.
Absolutely. We're so glad that you could join us this afternoon. We've got a great show lined up for you. Great stories from all over Indian country here in Native News Today. Great things happening.
That's right, Gerald. We've been traveling the highways and byways this week, out and about at a few different places. It took us to Norman, to Tulsa, and also we'll be telling you about a very big event that we at Muskogee Media have coming up for you just next weekend there at the Riverwalk. You're not going to want to miss the information on that. So a lot of great things happening, and hey, just like we always do, ran into a few people this week that said, hey Gerald, hey Jason, love the show, watch it all the time.
Mado.
And Mado, that's exactly right. Big Mado to all of you out there that catch us and moving around and say, hey guys, watch the show all the time, love what you're doing, keep it up. And really, that means so much to us, doesn't it, Gerald? We're very happy to hear from the viewers.
Absolutely. We're out there, you know, carrying those cameras and those tripods, whatever, going to this, whatever. But, you know, a lot of you people will stop us out there and tell us that you appreciate the show. And really, we mean that. We really appreciate your comments, and thank you for those.
Exactly right. You know, one of the best things we hear is my mom, you know, she doesn't watch much TV. She's getting older, but she watches Native News Today. You know, if there's one show she does watch, she doesn't miss it. So that's the great thing.
Thank you, Mom.
That's exactly right. Well, like I said, we got great stories for you, a couple of things that, you know, not just same old, same old. We got really a nice eclectic group of stories here for you this week. A little bit of something for everybody, so you're not going to want to miss it. But first, we're going to take our commercial break. When we come back, we'll be joined in studio by Miss Shara Ridge. She's going to be talking about Native Vote 2012. Don't go anywhere.
Pumakasam gadat, ibufanga, nage, adigat, punhayadit omega, ajayijidet omis.
Diosnuk, that's true. Throughout the generations, our elders have taught us to preserve, share, and more importantly, protect the abundant natural resources we have here in Oklahoma. We are the original environmentalists and protector of these resources. The Muskogee Creek Nation believes tribal and state governments must work together to ensure future generations will have clean air and clean water as the ultimate legacy. What is good for Oklahoma tribal nations is good for all Oklahomans. Remember, tribes are truly the original Oklahomans.
Okay, very, very glad to have Miss Shara Ridge with us in studio. She is the Community and Human Services Director here at the Muskogee Creek Nation, and we're getting together to talk about a very, very worthwhile cause. We're talking about Native Vote 2012. And Shara, I know that you've gotten behind this. A lot of people around the country have gotten behind this. You've seen so many things going on nationwide as the PSAs are coming through. Many, many notable Native actors, Native sports personalities, big-time people in the Native community coming out to support Native Vote 2012. And I know you're very, very happy to be a part of it, and also very motivated to get the work done.
Exactly. Really, Native Vote, the campaign initiative came from the National Congress of American Indians. And obviously, really, Muskogee Creek Nation has always been a part of a Native Vote effort, push effort, to get Indians out to vote, to understand it affects all of our lives every day. So it's not just a national issue or just when it's a political or presidential campaign election year, but it's every day. So it's important that we get our issues out as Native Americans and get out and exercise our right to vote. And
you look at the numbers, over 1 million Native Americans who are eligible to vote didn't register and didn't vote in the 2008 elections. That's an alarming number because you look at it and it's over 34% of our total Native population that's not going to, I mean, that's, you know, only that small percentage is getting out to register to vote. So that is a cause for concern, and I think that was really what spearheaded this movement in 2012 to really get everybody acclimated to, hey, let's be a part of the process, let's get out and do our duty.
Exactly, and really we try to take it in small chunks and say, you know, what can I do? What can Sheriff Ridge do? What can Jason Salzman do? What can Muskogee Creek Nation do? And we're working with the Chief's office and working with other tribes across at least Oklahoma to say, what can we do here in Oklahoma? What can we do as a tribe? And we're just making it as small as we can and say, you know what, if your tribe, the 39 tribes in Oklahoma could commit to, can make a commitment to register 130 new voters through your tribe, that would give us over 5,000 new voters, at least in the state of Oklahoma. So we, you know, just be a small percentage. When you look at that million number, that's like, whoa, how do we do that? But to try to get people where they are, and you know, we're, instead of us going, them coming to us, we're trying to go to them. We're going to clinics, we're going to powwows, we're going to tribal headquarters, we're going to where the people are to say, you know what, and this is why it's important. And people that are accessing services, you know, those are federal dollars. Those dollars have to be appropriate. Those dollars have to be accounted for. What are your needs in Indian country? What are your needs at Muskogee Creek Nation? That's the important thing, and that's what we try to get citizens to understand, how it affects their lives and why their vote is important.
And you see a lot of the politicians now on the landscape, whether they be Republican, Democrat, a lot of them are turning their eyes towards Indian country because we are becoming such big parts of our states and our communities in the United States as well. Not only having our own sovereign tribal communities and tribal governments, but also in a part of the United States as well. So they're seeing that, you know, relationship and how that can make them better, that can make us better. And so I think you're seeing this shift to where we're big players in the political scene. And I think that's kind of why they're looking at it, and maybe why now is the best time more than ever to get heavily involved, don't you think?
It's time. It's time for Indian country to step up and say, you know what, this is our land. We are the first Americans. We need to be a part of the political game. We have to be heard. Our needs have to be listened to and taken seriously, because we are a political player across the nation. And when you look at least on the national scene, and realizing there's only one Native American in Congress, and he's from Oklahoma. And sometimes we wonder, you know, question, does he understand the needs of Indian country too? So again, making sure we elect good leaders that are going to advocate for Indian country, and at the time, and then those issues that come up on the ballot that we have to look at too. How does this affect me in my tribe, or just even where I'm at home?
I think that there's a lot of things right now that we can look at on the political landscape and see of steps being taken. The Affordable Care Act, there's lots of provisions in there for Native people, but then there's also ones that we've encountered that really haven't, such as VAWA. We look at VAWA and there's tribal provisions that were left out, and we certainly did our part. If you're a fan of Native News Today, I know a lot of people saw a piece of us running the relay, you and I, and also Justin. A lot of people from Creek Nation ran the VAWA Resolution Act from Creek Chief, Principal Chief George Tiger. And I think that that's just two examples of where it can work for you and it can work against you. So we have to have as many people out there as possible.
Exactly. That's important. And so there's power in numbers, and that it goes back to people realizing it's simple to say, oh, my one vote doesn't count, or my one vote doesn't make a difference. Well, if you're saying that and 10 other people are saying that, then that's 10 votes that make a difference. And I'll use myself as an example, even running for tribal politics. I won by 11 votes. Thankfully, 11 people got out and voted that day. So just keep that in mind, that it does affect everyday life, and that it's just as simple as registering and getting to the polls. And that's what we want to stress is, one thing, get registered, to make sure you go to the poll and vote, you take somebody with you, and just get out there and exercise that right.
Absolutely, and we have a big week coming up next week. It's the actual Native Vote 2012 Action Week, and that's coming up Monday through Friday next weekend. And are there some things going on around here that we can share for folks out there on the Action Week?
On Tuesday is National Voter Registration Day. So that's across the nation. Muskogee Creek Nation is participating, so we're going to host a voter registration drive from 10 to 2 at our Mound building, and then we're going to host a rally at 11 o'clock. The rally will just be reasons to vote, motivational speakers, and then we'll have some of the freebies, the t-shirts and buttons and those sorts of things. But to really get people motivated to vote, and then to realize, okay, now what's my next step once I'm registered, or if I'm already registered, how can I make sure I get somebody to the poll? So Tuesday, get out and remind people to get registered to vote. But we invite everyone out here. So it's not just for Creek citizens, it's for the community at large.
Yeah, and it's for all of us in the Native community. We can't make a bigger difference than if we go register, vote, and let our voice be heard in this upcoming election. Sheriff, thanks for being with us today. We'll look for you all out next week. I'm sure we'll report something from the Action Week for Native Vote 2012. So glad to have you in studio to really present this worthwhile cause.
Thank you. And just, check out the nativevote.org website for more information.
Great. And we'll take our quick break here, and we'll be right back with more Native News Today.
Jehojefkat Paul Fixakodos. Ikanagat Tekobachi, Mikusapkajokorman, Amikusapkajokodos. I'm able to preach in English and Muskogee, our language too, so there's not many that does that today. When I was growing up, that's all we had, Muskogee language, and that's all they preach. I could talk my language when I was small. When I grew up, I could understand what they were saying. We don't want to lose that, language, especially our songs, our native songs and the Muskogee hymns. We want to keep them.
And welcome back to Native News Today. Jason Salzman, Gerald Wofford. A story that we've been following closely involves the Hickory Ground Ceremonial Ground here in Oklahoma Creek Country and the ongoing struggle with the Poarch Band Creek in Alabama regarding ceremonial burial rites.
Yeah, and Gerald, it's very unique and sort of in a way a tragic thing that these are two sections of Native peoples at each other on this, something as sacred as a burial ground, as a ceremonial site. It's really you've never seen this before. So for us, it's troubling that this is happening. We want to make sure and we get the word out about the opposition to this within the Muskogee Creek Nation and our Hickory Ground people from here in Oklahoma that don't want to see that site messed with, that want to leave it the way that it is. And we were at the listening session that they had from the Department of Interior in downtown Tulsa and spoke with a group of protesters about their thoughts.
I believe once someone is deceased and put in their final resting place that they ought to be left alone. Move your casino somewhere else. This isn't right. Leave our ancestors alone. Leave our sacred burial grounds alone.
We know that it is where our ancestors came from. We know that it's a part of our history, a part of our culture. There's everything that we know about the grounds that our people know, but because that it's being desecrated by the Poarch Creek, it makes it more, I don't know how you would say, I guess, more hurtful, more saddening that somebody who is also supposed to be Native and know what the sacred rites are to each other and how we're supposed to be connected and everything that goes along with that as a culture, that they would even be doing that if you're not here or if you're not taking part, then, or even doing anything to take a stand, then it's almost like you're turning away from your tribe and your culture if you're not doing anything at all.
We're not going to back down. We'll be here till the end. They got to put our people back where they was, where the Creator put them. The Creator picks our spot before we're born, and Poarch Creek want to pick another spot. And no man has the right to do that, and to leave our sacred site alone and put it back the way the Creator had it before they owned it. I think a lot of progress is getting made. I think Washington's going to hear it now, and the Poarch Creek are going to see that we mean business.
I'm not sure how many people are following him. Federal guys only have until about 12:30 for the hearing today for this session, so they're trying to move things along. But one of the last speakers talked about how there was no legal relationship between the Poarch and the feds, the federal government, in a treaty. So they're saying that there's no legal basis for any land acquisitions or placing anything in trust. And some are saying there is no cultural connection either, so these folks are there for the money.
They almost act like they don't know anything about this, when in fact 2 agencies of the federal government have known about this disaster for 20 years. So I'm not really sure how serious the federal government is about really doing anything. The fact that something like this can occur is a national travesty. I'm glad they're here listening, but I wish really that they were in Washington, D.C. doing their job.
I thought it was very well. I thought it was great that Chief Tiger and Speaker Alexander spoke in support of Hickory Ground and its Miko. What Miko Deere said was amazing. Miko Thompson said was amazing in there. The people are listening to what we have to say. There is concern that how the Poarch even got federal status in the first place, which led to this, is being brought out. And it seems like the BIA is interested in hearing that part of it. It's just amazing that their phony history has gone unchecked for so many years, and it's led to this point. Now they're digging up our graves and replacing them with a casino. I mean, how disgusting can you get? How can a tribe like that even operate gaming under the Carcier ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court? And the BIA hasn't stepped in to shut them down. So there's different sides to this that are being brought out, and different groups coming together to, try to resolve this issue. But one thing that we've realized is that the Poarch are digging in. They don't want to lose that casino revenue. And my message to them, every one of you that take a per cap payment from that casino revenue and run down to the bank and cash that check, you are guilty. You might as well have a shovel in your hand and dig up those bodies, because you are taking money off the removing of those graves. So that's what I have to say. It's disgusting.
You know, one day when they create the Native News Today Trivia Sports Game,
right,
there was a time when we did produce another show that was geared toward Native American sports.
That's exactly right, Gerald. It was the Native Sports Rush. Do you remember out there, folks?
And it wasn't just us hosting that. We had two other co-hosts. The story about this gentleman that was part of that then.
Absolutely. One of our co-hosts, not only Brent Kawi from Haskell Nations University, another Haskell alum, Mr. Eric Bailey, but he is climbing the ranks in the sports writing world. He is a sports writer with the Tulsa World there in Tulsa, and he is just assigned to the OU beat, which means he is covering all things Oklahoma football. He'll be doing some Oklahoma basketball in the winter too. And for him, 7 years covering TU athletics, it was a bit of a step up, because, a lot of people that aren't fans of OU may not want to hear this, but they are the #1 ticket in town here in Oklahoma. They are the top dog that have been for a long time, and so he has scrutiny. Everybody's reading his stuff, but it's one thing that he's welcomed. And I traveled to Norman this week to visit with Eric Bailey. In the football-crazed state that they call home, the Oklahoma Sooners are the hottest ticket in town. Perhaps nobody has a better view of the team than Tulsa World sports writer Eric Bailey. The native journalist talked with us about his first year on the OU beat.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a challenge. It's been different than covering the University of Tulsa that I covered 7 years. But it's been challenging, but it's been fun in an aspect of it's the biggest game in town. I mean, Oklahoma football, everyone in the state loves Oklahoma football. And whatever you write, whatever you tweet, whatever you put on Facebook is going to be read, and read heavily. So that's been a challenge, but it's been fun.
A lifelong sports fan and an accomplished journalism student who was honored as a Chips Quinn Scholar in 1996, Bailey found a way to meld both loves into a career.
Really, it's the best of both worlds. I grew up loving sports. Little guy, just loved all kinds of sports. And then when I got to college, I went to school at Haskell, and really loved to write. I loved my English classes. Thought it was a challenge to try to get an A in an English class, and that carried over to when I went to KU. I knew I wanted to go into journalism, but not really sports. I was more looking to write features, and then it just the door opened, and I got to be a sports writer, and I've been one ever since 1996, and it's been great.
He also discussed the unique opportunity as a Native American in a field where natives aren't greatly represented. He says it's a great opportunity to share his proud heritage.
I ask a lot of questions for a living, but it's a lot of fun answering questions when people ask about your heritage and where you came from, and you get to talk about some of the great Native American athletes of the past. Most recently Sam Bradford, who played on this field, quarterback at Oklahoma, now at the St. Louis Rams. I know a lot of people still follow him. So it's great. So when I get an opportunity to talk about my heritage, I jump at the chance.
Bailey also talked about the rigors of the profession and the hard work that goes into the week leading up to football Saturdays.
It's funny, everyone says you have the best job in the world, but they only see game days and they only see the games. It's not the Monday and Tuesdays. I live in Norman Monday and Tuesdays. I'd come back on Saturdays. I make that drive on Turner Turnpike. I've already made it so many times already, and it gets old fast. The drive does, not the work, but the drive. And it can be it can be brutal early in the week because you're here and you're in Norman and you're working nonstop. But again, then the payoff is the games. I mean, when you get to go see a big game like Kansas State on Saturday, Notre Dame's coming to town, you get to go to West Virginia, that's when the payoff is. But there's a lot in work involved, don't get me wrong. I mean, the week, you work hard on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to get to Saturday.
Bailey enjoys his new assignment, but more importantly, the opportunity to live and work in his hometown and state.
This is my hometown. I went to school at East Central High School. Family still lives there, and when I had an opportunity to go back and join the world, it was a lifelong dream come true. And I can't see myself anywhere else right now other than the Tulsa world, just simply because I enjoy the company. Great place for me to work, great people there, and then getting to cover the University of Oklahoma this year. You just feed off of that, and it'll make it more fun. I really, honestly, I cannot see myself doing any other job right now.
For Native News Today in Norman, I'm Jason Salzman. All right, and as we continue to wind down towards the end of our episode, I tell you what, it's going to be a great treat here because we will be now talking about upcoming next weekend, the Muskogee Film Festival. Now, I know everybody out there really excited about this, and Gerald, I know you've been getting in a lot of great entries into this. A lot of great prizes going to be available, and it's happening at Riverwalk Movies, just a perfect destination place for the Muskogee Film Festival. A lot of people talking about it. We'd be remiss if we didn't dedicate a large part of the show to next weekend's big deal.
Absolutely. We want to encourage everyone out there, okay, to attend our first Muskogee Film Festival.
Yes.
This is going to be taking place, as Jason mentioned, at the Riverwalk Movies. That's there in Jinx, the Riverwalk crossing there. You know, great Mexican restaurant, some other stuff there. But you always see the movie place. Perhaps you've been there a time or two. That's where we're going to be holding the first Muskogee Film Festival. That will be next Friday and Saturday. That is the 28th and 29th. Now, we will have an awards banquet. This is a competitive film festival we've had for best best animation, best feature, documentary. Those are just a few of the category segments that we had competing. So we've had filmmakers from all over the country, some from New Mexico, some from California.
Great.
Even a gentleman that used to work here, we've shown some of his archived documentaries on our show before, is competing in this film festival. Jason, we really wanted to make this a showcase event to show what Native filmmakers today are doing, directors and producers, and so their work will be showcased here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And of course, if you're in the area, we certainly want you to come on out. But again, the awards banquet will be that Thursday night, the 27th.
Right.
Films will be that 28th and 29th at the Riverwalk Cinema. Now, we will have a lot of information on our webpage, so be looking at our tribal webpage this next week. We'll give the updates. Now, the showings will be the afternoon on Friday from 1 to 4, and then the evening will begin at 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, as well as for Saturdays, same times as well, the afternoon 1 to 4, and evening 6 to 10. Our awards banquet Thursday night, that will begin at 7 p.m., and that is just, if you're real familiar with the Riverwalk movie area right there, it would just be north of that, a building, an office place that used to be called the Grill.
Okay.
It was a restaurant there, but it is a great place for our awards banquet. It's a place we've chosen, so it's just right walking distance of the movie place.
Yeah.
And you can purchase tickets. We'll have the information on our webpage, or you can call me here at the office, 918-732-7635. We'll get you information about that. Of course, you can buy your tickets to the movies there at the Riverwalk movie on the day of the showing. So, again, the first Muskogee Film Festival, something we wanted to put together. Other film festivals out there as well, all great and everything, but we wanted to make this a competitive event to, again, give awards. That's what we'll be doing that Thursday night. Oh, and the great thing about that awards banquet, Jason, that Thursday night is, again, we'll be feeding everyone, too.
Oh, wow.
So
hey.
it's a dinner.
I was waiting to get to the important stuff.
Now, if you wanted to buy a ticket for the awards banquet and the film showings, that's $15.
Okay.
And it's great to come on out for there.
Great.
If you're just for the movies or the awards banquet, that's $5. So great all
price.
around.
Yeah, great price, great venue, great films. It's one of the first really big things that we're putting on as Muskogee Media, is the rebranding of our department, and And I just think that it's a wonderful thing because we're pulling resources and great art from all over the country. And you know, you look at so many Indian artists out there, you know, are metalsmiths and beadworkers and weavers and things like that. But you know, our Indian artists can be visual arts too, you know, and you talk about the art of filmmaking and making something that can be remembered for many, many years and something that you could put yourself totally into. I think we're going to see a lot of great things and even some student work too, which is really exciting.
Right. Now, we have to admit, this is our first year again, and
yes.
so, you know, this is a building the foundation, if
right.
you will. So we've got filmmakers, native filmmakers from all over the country submitting their films. At the same time, we also are going to present some of the archive documentaries that we've shown here before, or some of you even haven't seen from our own library as part of the film festival showings. And still working out. We're not promising this here, but perhaps with our producer, Jared Moore, maybe a show or two, or maybe a segment of the Native News Today is just a part of the overall film experience.
I think if you want to get a huge crowd out, you're going to have to show some Native News Today, obviously, right?
Well, I would say so. I would definitely agree with that.
You got it. Well, you know, and just a few, and as you can see, you know, as we're talking, there are scenes and things running from some of the suggestion. I mean, some of the movies that have been coming in, and you know, people can get an idea of what kind of things they're going to be seeing. Really, you can immerse yourself in that whole genre for a couple of days and just get away and have a couple of great days of entertainment.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, I mean, so many great Native American artists out there in so many formats, and this is our way of showing that they're also in film. And of course, we've been showing you some of the footage there over us speaking here of some of the films that will be shown during the film festival. We also want to thank Mr. Blake Smith, the owner of the Riverwalk Movies, and as well as the owner of the Admiral Twin Drive-In. We've featured him here on the news
sure have.
Before, is allowing us to host our film festival there at their movie place. So we really appreciate his help and his great staff there. And again, this week, you can call me about tickets. Look at information on the website. We'll be bringing the update, the schedule overall, with the showings again, to have everything there.
Great.
And again, the only thing that's going to be missing, though, is you out there to come to our film festival. We hope that you can make it out. I
hope to see everybody out there. And then Mr. Smith, I'll add in there too, a Muskogee Creek Nation citizen of the tribe. So just a little icing on the cake there. And hey, icing on the cake would be us speaking about this at the end of the episode. We have come to the end of this episode of Native News Today. Want to see everybody out at the film festival. Want to see all those smiling faces telling us how much they love Native News Today. Keep doing the great work, and we certainly enjoy it. Hey, if you can't catch us here on the TV, catch us on the internet. We are on the website there, the Creek Nation homepage. You can check out our story archive. You can check out our live stream. It goes 24/7. Also, check us out on Native News Today Facebook page, and you can check us out too on Twitter at Native News Guys. See what me and Gerald are up to on a daily basis, as if you didn't know enough, right, Gerald?
For our producer, Jared Moore, and everyone that makes Native News Today so great, including you out there, we wanted to say you all take care. God bless.
And we'll see you soon. Be expecting a big Sooner victory tonight over Kansas State.